Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad you're here, especially on this Good Friday. And I do have to finally have some good news on the weather. It's going to be a good weather day, looks like. It's going to be a high today of 71 and a low tonight of 52. And our wind's going to be like south-southwest, maybe at 5 to 6. So that's our forecast. So it's looking good. We got a good show lined up today. You're going to really enjoy it. Take a look at our tide chart. Our tides, we're getting back into, today's the 29th of March. Can y'all believe that Monday will be the first day of April? But I'm like you now. I'm glad March is getting on out of here. I've had enough of cold, wet weather. But our tides today, we'll have a low tide this morning, actually a high tide at the middle of the morning at 10:52. So right at 11 o'clock, we're going to have high tide, and it's going out, be outgoing all afternoon, and low tide at 8:45 tonight. So that takes care of our weather, and we're going to take a short weather because we've got a guest in the studio. So we'll take this break and be right back. All right, welcome back, folks. And our guest this morning is Jim Wolf from Wild Birds Unlimited.
Good morning.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Let me tell you, about a year ago, I invited Jim to come on the show because all outdoorsmen love birds. If you're an outdoorsman, you just got to be fascinated with birds and all. And I just wanted to learn more. I know a little bit about birds. And Jim came on the show, and I had the best response from the viewers. And you said some folks came by this.
Oh, we had a great number of your viewers that came in to check us out.
Yeah, and it was just good. It's a win-win situation. We learned a lot about birds, and Jim got a few more customers and all. So we're just glad to have you back on the show. And
thank you. And
anybody that loves nature, which all our folks out there love nature, you got to love watching those birds.
That's right.
And our yard. I tell you what made me think about it the other day. We got several feeders out there. We just keep them going, and it's just constant. It's just a show, and it's fascinating. And I was asking you, the big old covey of blackbirds coming in, and what kind of birds are those?
Those would be the red-winged blackbirds.
The red-winged, but they're just whoosh coming in, and like in a big old covey.
We counted 45 or 50 of them in our yard just this past weekend.
Wow. Now, so what else is going on? This is springtime. We're right on the verge of April. Now, we're getting this little ugly March behind us finally. So we're looking at April, which is just a fantastic month for outdoors. So what all can we expect?
Oh, nesting season is here. So if you've got a nest box, it's time to clean it out and get it all set for the family of bluebirds or wrens or whatever that are looking for a place to have young.
Okay.
Hummingbirds are also coming into the area.
Okay.
They don't tend to spend their summer here, but they pass through on their migration north.
Yes. Okay. So you've got all kind of stuff. We got a picture here. Show this picture here. Tell us about this bird.
Oh, this is an eastern bluebird, and he's enjoying one of his favorite treats, and that's a mealworm. And they will take that back to the nest and feed their young with that, and they will also bring their young to the feeder if you have those mealworms out.
They will. So now you have mealworms and all that?
We do. Okay. Yes, we do.
Good deal.
In fact, we sell them in various sizes of containers.
Okay, good deal. I guess you could fish with these and feed them birds, couldn't you?
Oh, you certainly could. Yeah.
Okay. Now, first of all, most people out there are just like me. We know a few of the basic birds, but there's so many birds we don't know, but we still love and just love watching them and just admire how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
And all. So how do we go about identifying all the different birds?
It can be difficult, especially at certain times of the year where they've lost their bright plumages. During the winter, a lot of birds like the goldfinch will have lost its bright plumage, and it just looks sort of brown, and it's kind of indistinguishable. But get a nice little book or a pamphlet that will help you identify.
Okay, you've got some pamphlets right there.
Here's a simple one.
Okay, we'll just stick this on there. Actually, it's got Jeff, I tell you, I may just hold this up because right here, what it does, I want to hold it up because it folds out, and yeah, that on both sides. Wow, that is nice.
That's really nice if you're hiking or backpacking.
Yeah.
It's light and it's easy to quickly grab out of the
Waterproof, laminated. Yeah, I like that. That is good. Sibley's Backyard Birds of Florida. That takes care of a lot of them right there. That might be. I was thinking of something for my wife for her birthday. That might be something she might enjoy, but I'll get somebody else to go with it too. Okay. One thing we're talking about cleaning. Do you clean out all the nest boxes each year? You clean them out each year, right?
Actually, you want to clean them out after the young have left the nest.
Okay.
Because you have a really good chance of the parents, or maybe even another couple of parents, coming back into that same nest box and building another nest and having 2, maybe even 3 nests per year in your nest box if you clean it out.
Okay, so that can happen 2 or 3 times. That was one of the questions. I had a list of questions I was going to ask you. That was one of them. How many times a year will they use a nest? That they can do 3 times?
3, and in some cases it's been recorded up to 4.
Wow. Folks, I think y'all appreciate it being my viewers. I'm looking for notes. I usually write my notes on this. This is old school right here, writing notes on this. And I couldn't find my notes this morning, and I realized I'd put them on my iPad. See that yellow? There's a yellow sheet just like that now on the iPad. So I'm trying to keep up with this technology. So I had a list of questions. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and take a break now and come back with a lot more stuff to talk about with Jim. Okay. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with Jim from Wild Birds Unlimited. Tell the folks where your location is.
We're located in Gilbert's Plaza on 77, just north of 23rd Street. Same complex as Red Elephant Pizza.
The Red Elephant little restaurant there, right down there. Well, nice place, and one of my former students works in there right now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we enjoy having Andrea.
And Andrea's going to be a veterinarian, so she's in a good place right now.
I think so.
Y'all treat her well. She's a good student, a good young lady. Listen, one of the things I was asking off air, and let's go ahead and answer it now. How many feeders and what locations and all? So let's go ahead and how many feeders?
Your feeders and the amount of food that you put out, really it's going to be up to your personal budget, what you can afford. But there are different levels of feeding in that some birds like to eat near the ground, like the doves and sparrows and things really like to be near the ground. And some like to be more elevated, like the cardinals. So you could have a feeder in the air and then just let the ground feeders pick up the seeds that fall to the ground if you'd like. But it's also important to have your feeder not too far away from some shrubbery or something that if there's a predator that comes into your yard, like a hawk or a cat, that it can get away to get to some safety. You want to also be careful not to put your feeder too close to your window. Because a lot of birds, if they get scared, will fly into your window. The rule is, if you're going to have it near your window, have it inside of 3 feet. That way they can't build up enough momentum to hurt themselves. The really difficult is between 3 and 10 feet. That's they call the kill zone.
Okay.
So either outside of 10 feet or inside of 3.
Okay. Well, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Every now and then we hear a bird hit the window, but we're a little bit outside the zone. But they just take off and go, don't they?
They sure do.
Now the hummingbirds. Everybody's fascinated with hummingbirds. You said they're coming through pretty soon.
They're starting to come through. We've had several customers report that they're seeing hummingbirds. So if you've got a feeder, it's a good time to get that out. It's really easy to make the nectar. It's 1 part sugar and 4 parts water. Okay, y'all can remember that now. Okay. If you need to write it down, go ahead and write it down. Now, specializing birds, I know martins are always a specialized bird, and you got a martin house and all. And do y'all have anything like that, the martin houses? Or? We do. We carry martin houses and the poles to put them on.
Okay, we got a book, this book right here, to just tell you more about purple martins.
It sure does. It's they can be sort of finicky in where they put their nests.
Okay. Well, do you you have a selection, but this one on bluebirds. You just talked about, we had a picture of bluebirds. It's just different. You have different books on different subjects right there.
Bluebirds are very easy to get the nest in your yard. If you have sort of an open yard where there aren't a whole lot of trees. If you picture a golf course, bluebirds love golf courses and that sort of landscape.
Okay, all right. And then another book you brought. This is a good one here. And we're going to talk about more of this later.
Oh yes, great insect control right here. Bats, a lot of people don't understand bats very well, but they actually are very, very good for our environment.
All right, very good. One of the things too, if you want to, I know you want a variety of birds. Can you control that by the different kind of food you have for them? How do you do that?
You certainly can. You can. A lot of your ground-feeding birds enjoy something that has millet in it. The sparrows and the doves really like millet.
Millet.
And you can, if you don't want the sparrows and doves, you can eliminate that from your food. The key thing to remember is stay away from any blend that has things like oats, Milo, wheat added to it, because your backyard birds, the songbirds, won't eat it. They'll just throw it on the ground and it'll grow into weeds.
Okay, yeah, and that's a good point. We were talking to somebody earlier that was in the studio, and they were talking about the quality. You have such good quality food there compared to some of these other places. So, tell us about what's in your bird feed and all.
We have the seeds in our bird feed are guaranteed to not have any filler added to them.
Okay.
They also are guaranteed to be from the most recent harvest. So the seed hasn't been sitting in a warehouse for a year or 2 years. So it's very fresh, and you can tell when you open the bag if it smells like freshly cut grass or fresh grain or nuts. It's good fresh seed.
Good fresh seed. That's so important too. I wanted to, one of the things here, we're going to jump channels real quick because I got to show you these pictures while I have it on my mind. I got so much written down. So we're going to jump from birds to fish and come back to birds. But
I like fish too.
That's two great subjects right here. Check these, we're talking about a Spanish mackerel. Today's Friday, we want to do sort of a semi-fishing report. Bill Allen, Bill and Donna and Dalton went out and got this nice, this is a very nice trip. They went, let's see, they went out this past weekend, but it caught, she had a red jacket on. I guess she got cold there. This is Donna Allen catching these red, I won't say red snapper, catching these Spanish mackerel right outside the pass, okay? And now the son, he had Huntington soccer. Dalton had to come up there and catch a couple. As you can see, there are not a whole lot of them. I think they caught 10. That was a Sunday afternoon, I believe they were out there. And Bill did a good job as captain. He had both his folks were catching fish. Good job there. But these are the Spanish mackerel. They're in now, and also the pompano are in also. So we got a good situation with the fish. So we'll talk more about that. By the way, we'll do our famous Friday fishing forecast. It'll be online if we don't have time to get back to it. But I want us to take as much time as we can sitting here with Jim and getting all the information, pick his brain for all the information we can on these birds. In your backyard, how many feeders do you have?
I have 4 feeders in my backyard.
Okay.
Depending upon the time of the year, I've got a feeder right now out that's feeding the bluebirds mealworms, and then I've got some seed feeders and some suet feeders.
What was your background in this? What made you decide to get into birds and all as a hobby?
Well, it was a hobby that I grew up with as a kid. My father always fed the birds in our backyard, so it was something that we just continued to do, and it's such a relaxing thing to watch those birds.
You know, if a lot of y'all out there have feeders, I know a lot of y'all do, and if you don't, I would just encourage you to do it. Sometimes I just sit down and we can look out the window and whatever I'm doing, I just sit it down. I just start looking at those birds, and I can remember my dad doing it, and he was just fascinated with it too. And I've turned into my dad, I think, because I always got to tickle him. We had an ongoing battle with the squirrels, and now I find myself doing the same thing he did, just fussing at them. And what I do, I let my dog out. She's usually in the house, and my dog is trained just to chase. Never catch a squirrel in her life, but she can chase them full speed and they'll run. And we have a game going back and forth. So what do you do about the squirrels?
They can be challenging, although there are some things that you can do. Some simple things. If you want to try, you can add some cayenne pepper to your bird seed.
Okay.
The birds aren't bothered by it at all, but the squirrels don't like it. Problem with the cayenne pepper, because it's a powder form in the wind, it might blow away.
Okay.
But about
Just sprinkle it in there?
about a tablespoon
Okay.
to 2 tablespoons for 5 pounds of birdseed.
Okay.
Give that a shot.
Very good. Also, this is a little pamphlet. You have a hobby guide here. Do you have this at the store?
We have this at the store,
Okay.
and it talks about some of our products and also a little bit about the
Great.
backyard bird feeding
great,
hobby.
great picture. Now, they can just run by the store and pick this up?
Yes, sir.
Great idea. Okay. Look, we're going to take our final break, and then he brought all kinds of stuff we're going to show you. So we're going to change locations on the set, and I think you like this new setup. So we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, folks. Welcome to our new set. We've been working on it this week, and we're going to do more with it for our Famous Friday Fishing Forecast, like I say, which will be on the internet. So check out our website. Let me give our fishing times today, brought to us by Mark Cowart. Our times today now was this morning from 2:20 to 4:20, but this afternoon, 2:48 to 4:48. Okay, those times right there will be very important. Now we want to sit up here on this counter, and we're going to let Jim show us a lot of this stuff he brought. A lot of good stuff that is going to make our backyard wildlife viewing a lot better. So, Jim, just show us what you have.
Okay, we mentioned earlier the bluebirds, how easy they are to get to nest in your yard. This is a sample of a bluebird nesting box here. Yes. That they're very specific on their nesting box for the hole size.
I see. Yeah, I see. So that's the size they want.
1.5 inches is what they're looking for.
1.5 inches.
And a lot of people have problems with the holes, the squirrels, or something will try to enlarge it. If you want, you can get a metal ring that you can put over the opening. Okay. So that they can't chew that larger.
Okay. Very cool.
And it's important with any nesting box, bluebirds or otherwise, to be able to clean it out. So there's an easy way to
you just turn that to the side.
Open it that way, and then there's another opening on the side as well.
Okay.
On the inside, it's also important to have some sort of a screen that the young birds can use to crawl up and out.
How about that? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I see like a little ladder or something.
That's right. They use it as a ladder.
Very good. So y'all have these down there, okay?
We do.
All right. So that is nice. Okay, right here, I know what this is. This is for our hummingbirds.
That's right.
Okay. I'll sort of turn it.
An interesting thing about this hummingbird feeder is it has a built-in ant moat. A lot of people have problems with ants getting into the nectar in their hummingbird feeders.
Yeah, that's right.
So if this is hanging from the hook here and you fill this portion with fresh water, the ants, if they crawl down, they can't cross that to get into the nectar.
How about that? And who thought about that?
Somebody smarter than me.
That's cool. Okay, all right, let's look at this little.
Oh, that's a new product that we have in the store, and that's a carpenter bee catcher.
Oh, man.
So if you've got a problem with carpenter bees drilling into your fences or your house or whatever, you can put this out, and it has a pheromone inside the jar there, and they get attracted to the pheromone, and they go into those holes and fall into that jar on the bottom. And
boy, they're aggravating. They really do. I have them all over the place. I swat them and everything. I tried to get my grandkids to hit them with a broomstick, but they're not real good at that. Okay. Now I know this big item here. That's your bat. This is for bats right here.
That's right. It's a bat house.
I don't know if we can get all this on here, Jeff. We'll see how we can do.
Bats are, if you see them in your area, they're not too difficult to get to nest or to colonize. If you're not really seeing bats, you can't just put up a bat house and expect them to find it. Okay. So you need to see them and all, but they get up in here and they. Can you attract them in a certain way? Any way to attract them? Well, they're going to be in places where there's a natural water source because the insects that are going to be there. So watch for them maybe a half an hour before sunset. That's when you start to see them flying about in the evening. And if you see them, there's a good chance that you can get them to colonize in your bat box. Your bat box has to go up about 12 feet, between 12 and say 30, 32 feet in the air. Okay. And they also require some heat. So you want this to face sort of southernly. Okay. Here in the south where we are, it gets very hot, so you might have to paint the top third of it white to reflect some of that heat. but they need a warm temperature in order to nurse their young.
Okay. And how many times do they have is it once a year they have a young, or is it a couple?
You know, that's a good question. I'm not.
I'm assuming. I know one thing, they eat a volume of insects.
They sure do.
Been proven. I mean, I've seen videos of just boom, boom, boom. It's all, and especially, you know, we're talking about the other day on the show. This is going to be. We've had all this rain in March, so we afraid April's going to have a lot of mosquitoes.
Oh, I'll bet we will.
Yeah. Okay, and now let's talk about this right here. This is a nectar protector.
This is another ant moat, so that if you have a different type of hummingbird feeder that doesn't have an ant moat built in, you can hang your feeder from underneath this device and then fill this with water.
I see.
And the ants
the feeder, your feeder will go down here, and then this would be protected like a little moat.
That's right.
Cool. That's cool. It's amazing, all these little things here. Now, as always, binoculars. What size do you recommend for bird watching?
I always recommend an 8 by 32. I'm sorry, 8 by 42.
8 by 42.
To a 10 by 42, somewhere in that range. Anything stronger than that, you're really going to see a lot of jitter when you're trying to focus on those birds. Yeah,
and this is a good brand here. And you have different kinds down in your store too?
We do. We carry Vortex and Eagle Optics, and they both carry awesome guarantees.
You know, we talk about on an outdoor show, it's like I tell my kids in outdoor education, the outdoors, it's not just fishing and hunting, which I dearly love, but there's so many things like the camping, the wildlife viewing, the bird watching. Nature is just one gigantic thing, and we're so blessed here in the Florida Panhandle.
We definitely are.
And I know you see a lot of different kind of birds and all. And I appreciate. I know to have a store just on bird stuff and all is a challenge, and I know, but I know the people that trade there really enjoy going in there.
Well, thank you very much. We definitely enjoy it. The people that come into our store are happy people, and how couldn't they be?
I know it, and you know, I've noticed that about people like that. I go in there and everybody's sort of smiling. Well, what's this? What's that? So, well, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing it with us.
Thank you very much, Winston.
Okay,
My
and
pleasure.
As always, folks, we appreciate you watching the show. You be sure to do something good for somebody today. God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.